lucky today as we are joined by Jo from Foster in Dorset. Hi, Jo.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thanks for coming on. It's great to have you.
Well, why wouldn't I want to be down here on a sunny evening here in Weymouth? It's lovely. So.
I know, right? I mean, the sun seems to have crept out today. It was touch and go for a second, but it did come out.
Yeah.
Well, we're really grateful that you could come and talk to us a little bit more about foster care. So just to start off then, Jo, what is foster care?
Okay, so foster care and foster carers is where a child comes into care for a whole variety of different reasons. You know, there really isn't just one situation, you know, that every child, you know, sometimes it's a family breakdown, sometimes it could be a single parent that's ill that can't manage the child, sometimes there are, you know, difficulties with that particular child. There's so many reasons that a child might need to come into foster care, whether long term or short term, or even sometimes just overnight.
Oh wow, so there's sort of so many different scenarios,
Absolutely.
so many ways in which children need somebody to just help them out.
Absolutely,
to look after them.
Yeah. I always like the phrase, you know, it doesn't take one person or parents to raise a child, it takes community. And, you know, Dorset, we're so good at that. So, you know, we're certainly looking for a lot more people to step forward and put them, you know, look into foster care and decide whether it is or isn't for them, because, you know, there's a massive need in Dorset at the moment.
Yeah. So what do you guys do at Foster in Dorset then? What's your main focus?
So we've been commissioned by the County Council to basically do all the outreach aspect of, you know, recruitment, I suppose. So myself and my colleague were out and about in Dorset, attending events, running information sessions, very active on social media, coming into radio stations, you know, anything that we can to just get people to think about, you know, fostering. And yes, we're doing all sorts of things. We had foster care fortnight back in May, and we hit a different town each day of that fortnight. We've been stood in supermarket foyers, we're going to libraries, you know, we're getting quite creative with our events as well. You know, we look into charity events and we look at running home information sessions, all sorts. If anyone out there has got any great ideas or running any events themselves that perhaps we could come along to and share information or put up a stall, you know, we'd really happily come and do that.
Oh, so you might have even seen Jo and her team out there doing it somewhere.
Hopefully. Yeah. We've normally got lime green t-shirts on.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. Wow, so sort of your focus then is to try and find people and just put out the word out about foster care and how people can get involved.
Absolutely. I mean, I know by talking to someone or someone hearing about fostering for the first time, they're not going to suddenly think, oh yes, you know, I desperately want to be a foster carer. It takes a while for people to think about. It is a lifestyle thing, a lifestyle choice.
Yeah.
But I think I'd just really like to encourage people to just get in touch and make an inquiry, and we'll share those details shortly, because, you know, we can help people look at the different types of fostering, whether it's short term, long term, overnight. You know, there's so many different options that people could either manage around their job and their family life, or they could treat it as a vocational career. You know, if they fancy a bit of a career change and do something like that, perhaps they want to be based at home. You know, there really are so many options. So, you know, that's my role, is to dispel the myths, be out there and encourage those inquiries to come forward.
Yeah, I suppose sort of from what you're saying as well, that you don't have to be 100% sure that you want to foster by getting in contact.
Definitely not, no, because sometimes the timing's just not right, but by having that conversation now, you'll know when the timing is perhaps right in the future. So but you know, I think people take a lot of time thinking about, oh, I don't know whether to make an inquiry. No one is committed by making an inquiry. You know, you're not even committed at those early stages. It's really important that we help people explore whether it is going to be the right thing for them. You know, we don't want to unsettle a stable family. We certainly don't want to make a situation you know, make it worse for a child. So, you know, we need to marry those two things up so we can help people look at it. And sometimes we say to people, you know, come back to us in 6 months' time when you've finished renovating your house, or when you're settled into your new job, or whatever it is, you know. And the other thing I think is really important to say is we're not looking for perfect people. There is no such thing.
If I was perfect, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. There is no such thing. So many people say, well, you know, we're not the perfect family. I'm a foster carer myself, and we're not the perfect family, but we are a normal family. And that's all these children need, is just to experience normality, be stabilised in their school, in home, in good routines, be fed and watered every day. They just want normal things. We're not looking for anything extra super special, just normality is fantastic.
And I suppose you guys are here that you can, you know, if anybody's interested in whatever level, they can just come to you and ask those questions.
Absolutely.
Just find out.
Yes, definitely do.
So you mentioned before that that some, I think fostering or foster care does have a lot of myths behind it. People kind of think, oh, that doesn't really apply to me, or I'm not really appropriate.
Yes.
What are some of the most common myths that you
I've heard all sorts. I think the biggest one people say is I'm too old. And and there is no upper age limit, and say, you know, there may be some fit 70-year-olds, you know, that would quite happily have a child overnight. Equally, they may feel they've done their bit and got all their grandchildren, but there is no upper age limit. So, you know, people in their 40s and 50s, you know, they are definitely not too old. The only requirement around age is minimum age of 21, and the only other kind of real stipulation is that they must have a spare bedroom. So after that, you know, anything else can be talked about. Obviously there's a process to go through which involves DBS check-in and medicals and things like that, but it's a much shortened process, which actually is another myth. People say, oh, doesn't it take about a year to get through that? And, you know, my friend's friend, you know, took them ages. And actually, no, we've really shortened the process now, and people are getting to panel within 4 to 5 months.
Oh, wow.
So it's much quicker, and it needs to be condensed. It needs to be really thorough, obviously, because there's, you know, a child, we need to do all the proper checks and references and all of that kind of thing. But it needs to be quick. You know, we want to get people while they're interested and keen, you know, and they're excited to be foster carers, and getting through panel. It's just the best feeling. You know, it feels like you've, you know, won $1 million, and then you're just waiting for that call to say, you know, we've got a placement for you, and there you are off on your way. So the other myths are around what sort of support do I get? You know, you're so supported. And again, Dorset County Council's really upped the game on this. You know, you've got a social worker that's going to look after you. You can be in constant contact with them. There's duty for out of hours. The child that you have has got their own social worker. There's trainings. There's online trainings. There's support groups. There's forums. There's all kinds of things.
There's so much there.
Exactly. And also, what I really like is we're really trying to build a kind of a support and network and community of foster carers. Because people like to belong to a community, feel they've got other people that can relate to what they're talking about.
Talk to people who are maybe in a similar situation or doing the same thing. So I really like that actually from your Facebook page.
So,
you know, I had a little look at it, and you guys are doing so much with people in the community, and taking the kids and the carers out to
it's an important part of it, because it gets the word out again. It's on our lime green t-shirt still, and but you know, it makes people feel like, oh, actually, look at the support I'm going to get. I'm going to have fun. People are going to help me out in the school holidays. So yesterday we were doing a beach clean in Swanage. We've done foster walks, taking children along the seafront and getting free ice creams and all of that kind of thing. Exactly. So there's all kinds of things, you know. And Dorset County Council put on a summer picnic. We've got the Care Awards coming up in end of September, which is always a fantastic event where we recognise, you know, achievements of the children and also the foster carers themselves. So it's a really great event up at Bryanston School. We have that. So, you know, there's loads going on, and actually what we find is there's some pockets of foster carers that have even set themselves up in little groups where they go out for evening meals, and you know, and it's just so nice that you know, people don't need to feel on their own. I know sometimes we've still got a bit of work to do, it's still early days, but you know, that is definitely the aim, as you're seeing with everything we're doing through our Facebook page. So
definitely it's quite kind of like a little community.
Definitely.
And one thing I really thought was quite interesting, I think one of the myths with sort of foster care can be that it has to be like a long-term thing. And I know that you mentioned from your own experience that maybe you get kids on a shorter to term, so there's so many different
types. I mean, originally we went into it and we had a child for 6 months. That was fine, and it fitted in perfectly, but more recently we've just been doing short breaks, so planned weekends that we know in advance, so we know we're going to be around. And it could just be that their foster carers are going on holiday, or you know, they need a break from family. You know, again, so many different scenarios, but you know, there really are opportunities for all sorts, I mentioned earlier. So people could fit it around their family commitments at the moment, or their work commitments, but if people want to, it is a career. Some people do foster caring as a career, therefore they would have children on a long-term basis. So there really is, you know, opportunities for anyone to kind of get involved, really.
Oh, fantastic. So you mentioned that you yourself foster care.
Yeah.
So how did you get into it? What was the thing that kind of inspired you to get involved?
Okay, so originally I was actually working for the county council running the apprenticeship scheme, and part of that was to work with the children, the looked after children, particularly who were kind of over 16 or needing work experience, and the county council has a role as a kind of corporate parent, if you like, to particularly look after that group. So I really got involved with that team, and when I left the county council, I actually went self-employed, and I still wanted to do something to help out. My daughter was 14 then, and that was just, again, personal choice. We waited till she was a little bit older, and we just made an inquiry, and we just went from there, really. And at that time the process took 10 months, and as I say, it's shortened so much now, but the process itself was, we actually really enjoyed the process, although there are a lot of meetings and things and forms fillings, but actually you find out quite a lot about yourself and how you were parented and how you parented your own child. It's actually quite therapeutic, really. So we really quite enjoyed the process, and we went on, then it was called Skills to Foster training, now it's called Journey to Foster. That's run over 3 days, and you get to meet other foster carers, other people going through the process as well, and it just really opens your eyes to what you're kind of letting yourself into. But the best bit is when that first child, and of course we are human, and you do think, oh, I'm not sure if I'm doing it right, but you are, you have to have confidence. You've been assessed, you've gone through the panel, so you have to have confidence in what you're doing, and if you've got any questions, there's always someone that you can get hold of that can help you out or reassure you.
That's really sort of reassuring. You're never left on your own if you do have a problem.
No, definitely not. So
fantastic. It's great to hear from your own experience and how you've got on with the process.
Oh, thank you. I say it was really good. So I think since then we've had probably about 6 children, different ages. Originally we said we wanted age 8 and up, so we have generally had that, but we have also had a 4-year-old and then a 5-year-old. They've celebrated birthdays with us. We've had them over Christmas period. So it's been really nice, and for us as a family, it's been a really great thing to do. As I say, my daughter's 14, although I've got older stepchildren. Effectively, she was an only child, so for her, it's been a really good thing to keep her grounded, and also the skills she's picked up. They're lifelong skills that she's learned, and learn how to share and manage different situations, and that's skills she can put on her own CV.
Definitely.
It's a really good thing to do as a family as well.
Oh, thank you so much for sort of sharing your own experience.
Oh, thank you.
So with the foster in Dorset, what's the sort of hope for the future? What are you hoping to
we're early days into the project at the moment. We've only been working as foster in Dorset since in middle of April, May. Time's just gone on, really. So people that we brought in then, that made their inquiry and are now working their way through the process, I'm really excited to see those first ones become foster carers and see them perhaps at the Care Awards or at some of the support groups, knowing that I spoke to them in Tesco's back in April or whatever it was, whichever event. So the hope for the future is just to see more of those people coming through and to build that community that we've already started building. And ultimately the aim is to have more Dorset-based carers to keep Dorset children within Dorset, and so they don't have to go outside county. And and that's the ultimate aim, is to look after the children in Dorset that need it, and have this big network of foster carers all helping each other and supporting each other and pulling together to look after these children.
So if you or if anybody that you know would be interested in fostering, how can they get involved again?
Okay, so they can visit our website, which is www.fosterindorset.com, and all the information on there is also on the Dorset for You website, which is the County Council website, or they can jump on our Facebook or Twitter pages, and that is Foster in Dorset.
Fantastic. So many ways you can get in contact and just find out more about it and ask those questions that maybe you have, and maybe one day you could be a foster carer. So thank you so much for coming on today. We really appreciate it.
No, I really appreciate it. It's really good to get out and talk to people. So.
And we wish you all the best with your project.
Thank you very much. I'll keep you updated and come back in and see you.
Definitely, do it.
Brilliant. Thank you.